Means we can visit with a good friend of ours. You all know him. You all love him. Yes, indeed.
Maybe not.
Brian Duffy. He, if nothing else, will put a smile on your face or make you think. One of the
There
two.
we go. There we go. I'm glad you put it that way. Yes. Well, let's start out by getting something out of the way. It's it's kind of my little comment on politics. I keep on hearing people saying that the Republicans, the mainstream Republicans, need to start to attack Donald Trump more. And I think what they forget is that every time they attack him, it's not working, and it's not working for a reason. The reason is that the people are seeing something in him that they're not seeing, nor have they seen in the mainstream Republicans. And I would have to say that the same thing goes for the Democrats, too.
Well, I don't think he's really a Republican, but I think that's part of it, too.
Well, I would say that the Republicans aren't really Republicans anymore. It just depends upon what level.
Divide,
But you're right. The many times they're nominees, they don't seem like fighters, and he comes out swinging at every instance. So people are kind of drawn to that, even though they're not really listening to what's coming out of his mouth.
No, but what they are drawn to, though, is that they're drawn to him saying that we want to change things.
Right.
We want certain things to come about, and he's talking the game for them, the ones that feel that, our country has kind of let them down. Our country has kind of forgotten about them. Their pay hasn't gone up. They've lost benefits. They've lost jobs. So that's my comment on that. But now we're moving away from that.
Oh, we're not going there anymore?
No, we're not. We're going to go to something else. Again, the legislature brought up synthetic cannabis oil for people that have certain,
epilepsy.
Well, it's only epilepsy. It passed 2 years ago. I was thinking about this. It passed, so it's only for people that have epilepsy.
Right.
But you can't buy it in the state.
No.
The state does not produce it. If you bought it out of state and brought it in, that's a federal offense. So in other words, you just can't get it at all.
It's all so dumb.
But if you magically get it here, it's okay if you use it.
Yeah, how is the question. I mean, Minnesota has their own plants that are building it, and the more I thought about that is that you've got the legislature that is in essence forcing people to jump through all of these hoops. Now, there was another bill that had come up by Peake County of West Des Moines, and it would have expanded.
Yeah, he was on the show.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so he talked about it would expand to about 15 different ailments that it would cover. And what happened was it went into a committee session.
Well, they were getting into funnel week, so they wanted to make sure.
Well, this was but this was after funnel week.
Oh,
for
this
the
is
most
after
part.
funnel week, even. Okay.
So it came out in little bitty pieces. It was cut down from the original 15 to I think about 3 or 4, and it had to be those 3 or 4 things, and they also had to be that the person wasn't going to live more than 12 months.
Right. Remember that. We made a comment about it.
And so
it's stunning.
Here
to me.
we have legislators acting as physicians.
Exactly. And the discussion in that, too, which was amazing to me, was that when they were asked about it, the legislators said, well, no, we didn't take into consideration any of the medical issues involved in it. We were just looking at, when we chose which ones would be covered, we only thought about, well, let's just grab a couple of them because we know not all 15 are going to get through. So let's just grab a couple of them. And so there was no weight put to any one of the 15. And it's amazing to me that they do this because 81%, I think there's a poll about a month and a half ago that showed that 81% of, it was a Quinnipiac poll, of the respondents said that they are for the legalization of this medication, which has proven itself to be very, very, in other states that they have used it, it's worked very well.
And to be clear, we're talking about CBC.
Right.
Not THC.
There is
not
none
the stuff
in it.
people
There
get
is
high
none in
from.
it.
It's
Yeah.
just CBC.
And the difficult thing is, I thought, all right, what's the idea behind it? You look at it and you say, the state has, in essence, given them something to look at, to strive for, but really it's forcing them to jump through hoops on this. And the image that really struck me, and I kept on shrinking it down, was that, you know, that hoop that anybody's supposed to go through is extremely small. And that, as I'll put in my website later on, I'll show the final version of it. But it's a height of cynicism on the part of the legislators to say that we're going to give you hope and then really not do it.
It's immoral.
Well, it's
Yes.
one we've talked about many times here on the morning show program with our local Rip and Read headlines, and just because we are passionate about this topic, but we cannot understand why it doesn't make sense to everybody else when they've had proof of showing kids that have epileptic seizures and
Right.
they don't have one when they're able to have access to this medication. And again, medication, not a drug like marijuana or anything like that. So we don't understand why they don't want to help people in their states. That it's been proven that it can give them great benefits.
It's the arguments against it make no sense whatsoever, because
What part of this is not part of the plant that makes you high do people not get?
I don't know. I really don't know what it is. I think that they think that other people are going to be producing it in the state somehow, but Minnesota has shown that I think they have 8 facilities where it's produced. So they have no problems with it there.
Well, and why couldn't we produce it here and make money from it? The plant doesn't produce THC. The
No.
plant they use for CBC, it looks like a marijuana plant, but it doesn't
Right.
produce THC. Why couldn't we grow it here? Start an industry, make money, make jobs, you know?
Exactly, and that's what I think. There's about 30 to 40 states that do have some kind of a law, and a majority of them are way ahead of us on this. And
we
it's
used
amazing.
to grow it here. We grew it here in World War II. We grew hemp here.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
For cloth and for rope, and that's why
Right.
we have ditchweed in Iowa. That's where it came from.
Well, you know, I think when I looked at the images on Google, I think that one of the things that's a drawback is I looked at some of my contemporary cartoonists, and they're all showing the marijuana leaf. You know, they're all either somebody smoking it or whatever. And that's really, it's an easy way to get that metaphor across, but it's not what it's supposed to be. And it's not exactly, what we're looking for here and what people would be using here.
But that's what's ingrained in everybody's head.
That's
So they
ingrained in
hear that
everybody's
and they
head.
think the bad marijuana drug as opposed
not
to
the drops
helpful.
on somebody's tongue, which is all that they do. So, no, it is, and it's stunning, and I guarantee you it won't go anywhere again this session, probably next session either. But it is immoral. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Look for my cartoon on it.
I was gonna say, if people want to see you or learn
get
more
out
from
there.
what you're doing, they can check out your website. They can also follow you on social
See
media.
that? We told you. He's going to make you think. Here's what he
Yes, I tried to.
But you shouldn't have to think. It shouldn't.
Right.
It shouldn't
Right.
require
It
thought.
should be a
No
no-brainer.
brainer. Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Well,